Hello everybody, this is Abuobieda Abusharib from Najran University, College of Medicine, Pathology Department. Today I'm going to be talking about apoptosis. You see apoptosis, I will talk about it on this point, definition, types, and what are the mechanism of apoptosis. And you know that definition of apoptosis actually have two definitions. First of all, literally. Literally, it means falling off something, literally falling off. For example, falling off leaves from trees. This is apoptosis. And this is in Greek language. Okay, falling off something. But scientifically, it means programmed cell death. It means scientifically programmed cell death. What do we mean by saying programmed? When we say programmed cell death, it means there is apoptotic gene controlling this process, as you see this point in this table. So here in this table, which is also help us in the definition of apoptosis, this table, we have gone over it in the area of necrosis, if you remember. So here there is apoptotic gene in the area of apoptosis. Apoptosis, unlike necrosis, there is no gene control. Also apoptosis affecting single cell. Unlike necrosis, large group of cells are affected. So also this is very important point in the definition. And complete lysis of necrotic cell. Unlike here apoptosis, fragmentation of the cell. If this is a cell, it will be fragmented like this, forming what is called apoptotic body. So this is apoptotic body. While here in necrosis, there is lysis, disintegration, and complete. You will find nothing here. The remnant of the cell will completely be lysed. Okay. Also here you see there is no reaction around apoptotic area, unlike necrosis. Also, this is very important point. In necrosis, you will find a lot of inflammatory cells around the area of necrosis. Energy consumption, if you remember, we have said that apoptosis is an active process, so it needs ATP. There is ATP consumption. Unlike necrosis, which is passive process without consumption of ATP. Here, no ATP consumption. Also, if you remember, apoptosis is a physiological or pathological stimuli. So the stimuli which produce apoptosis can be physiological or pathological one, unlike necrosis, which is only pathological stimuli. So all these points which will help you in the definition. So here is a programmed cell death, that is to say cell is controlled, death which is controlled by apoptotic gene and affecting single cell without inflammatory reaction around it and fragmentation of the cell. It is an active process, so it needs energy. Actually, let us talk about this point, apoptotic gene. We have actually apoptotic gene and another anti-apoptotic gene. Both of them work together, so in a harmony. So if the cell wants to die, maybe apoptotic gene will be activated and anti-apoptotic gene will be inherited, that is to say, inhibition and stimulation. So I will talk about this point later on. Okay, especially in the area of oncology, I will talk about apoptotic gene and other genes, which is anti-apoptotic genes. Let us go over the next point, also very important point, types of necrosis. Actually, we have two types of necrosis. Number one, physiological apoptosis. And when we say physiological apoptosis, we mean that this is a normal process which takes place in the tissue. For example, in embryogenesis, one of the processes which will apoptosis take place physiologically is embryogenesis. That is to say, embryo formation, embryogenesis. Okay, for example, here if you see the finger, there is webbing in between the fingers, and this is due to apoptosis which takes place in the tissue in between the finger. Also in the endometrium, in the periods, endometrial shedding, endometrium. For example, let us to say this is an endometrium here. If my drawing is good, okay. So this is the endometrium. Shedding of this endometrium in the periods in females the menses is also by apoptotic pathway which take place here in this tissue. Also in aging process, number 3, aging process. In aging process in our body, you will find a lot of atrophy in aging process, and this is also due to apoptosis. And there is a lot of physiological pathways or physiological processes in which there is apoptosis. We will talk about it later on. Number 2, this is number 1, physiological process. Number 2, also pathologically, you will find that apoptosis can take place in a pathological stimulus, like, for example, virally infected cell. They will kill themselves by apoptosis. Actually, apoptosis, as if it is the cell kill itself, because it is programmed by a specific gene from inside, as if it is a suicide. The cell kill themselves. So here, virally infected cell. Virally infected cells. Also number 2, tumor cell. Tumors, if you have large tumors, sometimes some of these cells will die by apoptosis. This tumor cell killing themselves by apoptosis in tumor. So these are 2 important pathological processes in which apoptosis take place. Let us go over this point. What are the mechanisms of apoptosis? Actually, we have 2 very important mechanisms. Number 1, called mitochondrial pathways, and this is intrinsic pathway, and there is another pathway, as you see here, it's called death receptor pathway. So this is extrinsic pathway. So we have 2 pathways, and let us draw a cell here. If this is a cell, for example, this is a nucleus, and this is a mitochondria. So the mitochondria should be a little bit less than the nucleus, but no problem. Okay, so actually we have 2 receptors. One of the receptor here is called death receptor, and this will be activated in the extrinsic pathway. This is extrinsic pathway. So if this is death receptor, sometimes there is a ligand here which is combined to the death receptor. This is a death receptor. So combination of ligand and death receptor result in activation of protein called caspases. Caspases. And this more than 1 protein. This is a long process, and I will go over it quickly. So these caspases will activate a lot of protein inside the cell. But actually the most 2 important proteins here, number 1 is called proteases. Number 2, endonucleases. Endonucleases will destroy or will make the nucleus here that will be digested like this by endonucleases. Okay, proteases for digestion of a lot of proteins, structural and functional proteins inside the cell. So here the result of that is reduction or shrinkage of the cell due to loss of some of the organelle and digestion of them, and also loss of some part of the cell membrane. So the cell will be smaller. This is the first step. Okay, shrinkage cells. Then fragmentation of fragments of the nucleus. After that, formation of blips. Let us say blipping. There is blips formation like this here, and every fragment will go towards these blips, and then these blips will be cut from here and to form apoptotic body. Apoptotic. Actually, you can say apoptosis or apoptosis. All of them are correct. So this is apoptotic body. This is very small body enclosed by cell membrane with a little here fragments from the nucleus and sometimes from the organelles. Okay, and this is dead body, and it should be engulfed. It will be engulfed by macrophages. So the macrophages will come here to engulf this apoptotic body. Let us go over the next, maybe here the first point, mitochondrial, which is intrinsic pathway. Here there is a receptor also in the mitochondria, and you know there is apoptotic gene inside the cell, so it will produce apoptotic protein, which come here in the inside this receptor, which activate this receptor. So the result of that is releasing of cytochrome C. This is called cytochrome C. Okay, and you know that cytochrome C have another activities rather than this apoptotic pathway. It is in the metabolism of the cell. Then after that, this cytochrome C will activate the caspases, and so then the caspases do the rest, which I have said here in the this. This is so a common pathway, which is common with this receptor and intrinsic receptor pathway. So it will come to be, this is a pathway and this is another pathway, until reaching caspases. Then it will activate proteases, endonucleases, doing what I have said before, for example, apoptotic body formation, and then fragmentation of the nucleus, and the macrophages will come here to get rid of these apoptotic bodies. So maybe these are the most important point about apoptosis. And thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye for now.